Well, thank you very much for staying with us. It's time now for the news review. And in a bit, we'll be joined by Laratu Saka. She is with the Ministry of Information, representing the NPP. And Rachel, well, Naache, she prefers to be called Naache. She's a member of the NDC's communications team. She is here in the studio with me. Good morning.
Good morning, Ben. How are you?
I'm well. How about you?
Grace abounds. We thank God for the gift of life, and I'm happy to be here my very first time. Thank you, Joyce, for having me. It's
good to have you here for the first time. I've told her the protocols about how we do it here, so she says she's going to comply. No propaganda. All right, so I have a stack of papers. You also have your stack. But before we get into them, there's something we do on the show. We give about a minute or maximum two to our newspaper review guests to talk about an issue that they are passionate about. Which would it be for you this morning?
Good morning, viewers. And so I'm passionate about His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. He's in the Northeast region as we speak, selling the message of the NDC to the good people of the Northeast region. And I'm sure reporters are on the ground and you see the overwhelming, welcome that the region has given to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, in anticipation that effective 7th January, God will bless Ghana with an NDC administration so that we're able to reset Ghana, so we're able to reverse the ills that the country is currently facing. And I'm sure you hold me to it, that what are some of the ills? I think that for us to use $58 million in the name of building a national cathedral to dig such a well, such a swimming pool, I think that is one of the ills of the society. I think that the challenges that have bedeviled the youth of Ghana, unemployment is also an ill in Ghana that John Dramani Mahama is proposing, that he's coming to give jobs. John Dramani Mahama is also saying that a critical, component of our population, women, we are a greater majority, but women face challenges from not having access to expand their business and even to initiate businesses. John Dramani Mahama is proposing that he will set up the Women Development Bank that would give a minimum of 1 million Ghanaian women. So whether you are in the corporate space and you want to, Ben, it's very difficult to live on one income stream in the times we are in. And so even if you are employed, John Dramani Mahama is saying that he'll give you access to capital so that you're able to get other, streams of income. And so this morning, what's on my mind, what I'm passionate about is John Dramani Mahama's agenda to reset Ghana and put it on the right trajectory. Thank you, Ben.
Well, thank you for sharing your thoughts there. Let's get into the papers now, and I'm going to start with the Daily Graphic newspaper. Tertiary programs at unaccredited centers to be revoked. That's according to GTEC. Measles, rubella vaccination underway. Targets 5 million under 5-year-olds. Expedite hearing on galamsey cases. AG to judges. And Student Loan Trust Fund pays 25 million Ghana cedis in teacher trainee allowances. CDS calls for more collaboration among security services. On the back page, Minister satisfied with Ghana Landscape Restoration Project and revamp Abosso Glass Factory to develop renewable energy equipment. CSOs charge political parties. Those are the stories there. Maybe let me start from the back page, like I've been doing in recent times. And the political parties should consider seriously the need to revamp the Abosso Glass Factory as a first step to developing local capacity to build the country's renewable energy equipment. This equipment includes solar panels and wind farms. The call was made by 11 civil society organizations in Accra last Tuesday. Now, this was during a post-manifesto engagement with political parties. I'm talking about the ruling NPP, the National Democratic Congress, and the Movement for Change. It goes on to list the CSOs involved. Then, Minister satisfied with Ghana Landscape Restoration Project. The Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Ophelia Mensah-Hayford, has expressed satisfaction with the level of work done so far in the Kwewu area on the implementation of the Ghana Landscape Restoration Project, describing it as successful. He made the remarks at Abetifi last Tuesday after visiting 4 land restoration sites in the Kwewu East District in the eastern region where the trees that were planted were flourishing. And those are the stories on the back page. Particularly interesting when we are talking about the Ghana Landscape Restoration Project and that recent sum of about, is it $30 million that hopefully we're getting from the United Arab Emirates for, you know, similar activities. On the back of galamsey also biting hard as far as our country is concerned. Natre, do you have any reactions to these stories before I go on to the other ones?
And so when I say that the NPP is a government that wastes the taxpayers' money or wastes resources, it is evident in what you are reading. Why would the president put a committee to work? The committee will submit its report to the president. The president will confiscate the report for over 2 years to a point where the chairman of that committee, Professor Frimpong Boateng, will come out and say that we worked, I submitted the report to the office of the president, and the president has refused to work on it. Doesn't it show that the president is actually complicit in this galamsey issue we are facing? Doesn't it prove that the president lacks a certain political will to fight it to the point that his own appointees have been fingered in this galamsey scandal we are talking about, for lack of a better expression? But you see, why would we allow ourselves to waste our lands and natural resources and then use an amount you've mentioned, $30 million or what have you, to come and say we are doing land restoration when these monies could be channeled into improving the free senior high school? And so we'll set up to say that we are destroying a land, we are destroying water, and then we'll turn back and say that this is money allocated to solve this problem. Why would the NPP intentionally, and I use the word intentionally, because in the famous video, we heard them say, that, Prof, you said we should go and look for the famous video involving Professor Frimpong Boateng, where names like John Boedu were mentioned, and the likes, key members of the NPP, saying that they needed to go get a concession to mine in the name of Party Hiesika. So because Party Hiesika, you actually spoil the health of our lands and then our waters and turn back to say that you are receiving money to go and restore it. What I'm saying is that money is hard to come by. So there is the need for a certain fiscal discipline, right? And that translates to what we are seeing. You go and then you provide such unprecedented levels of distraction. And then you are waiting for aid to come and restore the lands. What I'm saying is that it is very worrying. And then Ghanaians should not trust the NPP in this fight against galamsey. Ghanaians should not trust the NPP in this fight against galamsey because the NPP lacks the political will. The NPP are not just enablers of the crime. They have become complicit in it. They are neck deep and hand deep in this galamsey menace. I don't know why any well-meaning Ghanaian will think that the NPP has what it takes. And I'll tell you why I think the NPP doesn't have what it takes to fight galamsey. We heard
briefly on that.
We heard their Efiduase Asokori, member of parliament, saying that the galamseyers were imported. Ben, of all the names I have mentioned to you, which of them did the NDC import? He was actually accusing the NDC of importing galamseyers. Did we import John Boedu? Did we import Professor Frimpong Boateng? Did we import the likes of Charles Nitego, whose name came up in the report that the president refused to work on? Did we import them? And then you see, for some funny reasons, the NPP thinks that we will look on for them to destroy our resources, and then we'll give President Akufo-Addo a third term under Dr. Bawumia.
Your point is made.
That would not happen.
Right, your point is made on that. I do wish we had the MPP's representative here to also share her thoughts on this matter, but let's see what pans out from there. Now, there's also the front page, and I'll start with this story. Expedite hearing on galamsey cases, Attorney General to judges. The AG and Minister of Justice, Godfrey Adame, has called on the Chief Justice to direct all judges hearing galamsey cases to conclude them within 1 month. He said that would go a long way towards delivering justice for the heinous harm caused to the people by the devastating act. Mr. Dami was speaking at the annual general meeting of the Association of Magistrates and Judges Ghana in Accra yesterday on the theme, Improving the Security and Welfare of the Judiciary for Effective Justice Delivery. The AG said the trial of illegal mining cases was one of the categories of cases that progressed at a slow pace as illegal mining continued to cause incalculable damage to the country's forest reserves and rivers. In respect of the protesters in recent times, Democracy Hub, The AG said the state would prosecute acts of protesters which threatened essential services, infringed on the right to free movement, or attacked the safety of security forces this election year. He explained that such acts could endanger the entire society as they had the tendency to destroy the peace of the nation. Mr. Dame said there were attempts by some people to create tension ahead of the elections and instill fear into people through demonstrations, which in some cases were what he described as a ruse for mounting an attack on the security forces and disrupting the running of essential public services. Now, let me just add that yesterday and I'm intentionally not mentioning the police station, I went to a certain police station because we hear some of them have been moved from place to place. There's someone I have worked with in the past, so I had a special interest, went to see this person who has a son, and just to check on the person. It was an interesting situation, and some claims were made about not having access to a phone and someone who perhaps wasn't even on the grounds and had been bundled in and all of that. We don't want to get into the nitty-gritty. The simple point is, these people, the court processes, like the AG is saying, must be allowed to go to run its course quickly without any impediments. And if they are going to be granted bail or if they are going to be let go of, that happens. Because some of what is happening, to put it mildly, makes no sense. The fact that they've done this, if you're going to process them, charge them for something, some of which has been brought to bear, and some of them you have to prove that in court, go ahead and do it. And if not, don't keep them. Don't. But quick thoughts on that matter, because I heard you, speaking about it earlier. Nache, any thoughts on that?
And so, you see, when people protest, and for one reason or the other, the police think that they found themselves on the wrong side of the law, like you're advocating this morning, what should be delaying their trial? And when I say that the NDC has the solution to some of the things that we are facing, I mean it, and I'll let you know. And so if it is permitted by the good people of Ghana, and effective 7th January, President John Dramani Mahama is sworn in, what we are saying is that we would empower the court to sit for 24 hours to expedite action. And so if the court said morning till midday, if the court said midday to evening, the court will sit during the night. What we are saying that we will resource the courts, be it with security, be it with personnel. It is part of a comprehensive program to ensure that such hearings are expedited. Because you are keeping people in police custody, you are detaining people. And you know the very worrying situation, Ben, the fact that most of them complain that they've not been even given access to lawyers. Some of them said we need medicine and we've not been given access to our medicine. Some of them said we need access to speak to family and then police is denying us. If it is permitted that the courts are expediting action, they are actually working around the clock, for lack of a better expression, the expeditation of hearing that the Attorney General is calling for would happen. But then you see, why would, as we have seen in Professor Boaten's report, the real kingpins of galamsey be walking about? And then the innocent Ghanaian who says, I am demonstrating against the fact that someone somewhere has put my life on the line and not his job. Because bear in mind, galamsey may not be happening in Accra. And you can't also say that simply because galamsey is not happening in Accra, people in Accra should not protest. And by the way, was there a register to say that those protesting are only residents in Accra? All of us drink water. Water that has been channeled from, rivers and processed for us to drink. Isn't the life of the ordinary Ghanaian on the line? It is only the NPP government that has had even toddlers demonstrate against them, had even the aged demonstrated against them. In this galamsey matter, you see, I have always said that the NPP did not seek out to fight galamsey. They actually went on a mission to change the actors of galamsey. And so, for example, if they find a concession, they will seize the concession that was told to us by Honorable Kennedy Akompre Japan, that President Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo seizes people's concessions and gives it to his favorite. So on this note, I think it is fair to come to the conclusion that the NPP just changed the hands, the actors of galamsey. They did not set out to solve galamsey. Now, to also add that, if we hear the arrogance of some NPP, key members of the NPP, saying that, well, we would let you continue the galamsey, and I've heard Mr. Mrekuduka say that we would make you continue. In fact, we would give you all the support you need to actually, continue galamsey. While on the other hand, the running mate of the NDC is saying that we will actually train the youth, the young people, to indulge in responsible mining. And so this morning, the choice is between saying that we will let you do the galamsey, we will let you spoil our river bodies, we will let you put the health of our water at stake, and by extension, the health and the life of Ghanaians at stake. It is for the good people of Ghana to choose the government that will put their lives first and say that we are protecting the lives of the ordinary Ghanaian.
Let me ask you a quick question. You made reference to something. Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman in recent times has been talking about training for galamseyers, and so they can mine sustainably or have a stable system and all of that. What exactly does that mean? Because galamsey is illegal.
So what we are saying is that, and so what she said was that she didn't say that we are actually training you to go and engage in galamsey. What she said is that...
Did she use the word galamsey or not?
No, so you see, you can't...
I'm asking you a question.
She didn't.
Okay. Did she use the word galamsey?
So it is,
She didn't use the word galamsey.
Ben, let me answer your question. It is ideal for you to play the video for the viewers to be the best judge. I think that's what we should be doing this morning.
This video has been in circulation. We don't have any cause to go looking for this video to play it. I'm asking you when she did not. Let's have a conversation, not a...
Ben, she did not.
Let's have a dialogue, not a monologue.
Ben,
hold for me. Hold for me.
You asked me. Ben, no.
Hold for me. I am asking the question. Hold for me.
Ask.
Did she suggest that training would be given to galamseyers to go and mine sustainably? The sustainably is not a concern for me. Did she talk about galamsey? I reiterate, galamsey is illegal mining. What did you hear?
So Prof told the gathering that we will train you in responsible mining. Simply put.
Director, if we have access to the video, that is if we do, please look for it for me and let's listen to what she said. I've seen some things on social media. I do not know whether this can be corroborated, but if we have access to that video, let's cross-check and let's hear exactly what she had to say on that. I found it unfortunate because I remember that day on our midday news, it was brought up, and galamsey, some members of your party have tried to water it down by saying she had some confusion between small-scale mining, which is legal, legitimate, and illegal mining, and lumped them all together. Some people do that, but I don't expect her, at her level, as a running mate, to make that mistake in any case. But thank you for those submissions. Students Loan Trust Fund pays 25 million Ghana cedis teacher trainee allowance, and CDS calls for more collaboration among security services. Let's get into your stories. Oh, and there's this one. We did it in the news. Measles rubella vaccination underway targets 5 million under 5-year-olds. So 5 under 5. That's it. Which paper are you starting with?
Well, so this is the Ghanaian Times. The front page says that 36 hotspots identified nationwide. National Peace Council intensified public awareness campaign in affected areas. It comes with a photograph of Mr. Wilson, who is the president of the National Peace Council, I'm sure. And then we also have NDC advocate stakeholder examination of the EC's IT system, and I think that's my interest this morning. I also have the New Republic. It says that scandalous links exposed. Vice President Bawumia alleged connection to Haptel lucrative deals. It also has on the front page, Togbe Nyaho moves to foil royal coup, and then coup echoes reverberate. NPP in election data harvest plot, and then the Ghana Report Cambridge Analytica connection has uncovered this. On the back page, it comes with a photograph of Elik Plim Akurubu, MP candidate for Dom Kwabinya. And so my interest this morning is on the EC. And I've stated on other platforms, and I'll repeat, that the NDC is going into the 2024 election with zero trust for the Electoral Commission. It is not because the NDC is anti-EC. It is because, among other things, the EC has not carried itself in a way to merit the trust of the NDC. And then to also say that for the president to, actually stash the Electoral Commission with NPP party faithfuls, people who have sat on platforms like myself communicating. And on this note, Ben, I'll ask you that if you see me sometime soon as a commissioner of the EC, won't you as a media person want to actually question the compromises I may be tempted to make? And so these are the referees that we are going into the 2024 election with. And to also say that when, people say that, including the EC itself, says that, and so the NDC has not actually submitted any evidence of the claims we are making to them, then I want to actually ask them, so if the NDC has not submitted any claims or any evidence to you, what exactly were you answering? And anytime you are asked, you tell the media, you tell the good people of Ghana that all the concerns of the NDC have been, rectified, if that's the word. And so if there is no evidence, what exactly are you working on? The EC itself has come to the admission that indeed we made illegal transfers. It was the NDC that pointed out some of these things to the Electoral Commission. Without the vigilance of the NDC, would the EC had come out to tell the good people of Ghana that we actually transferred people illegally?
The EC cannot know everything. They say this was done on their blind side. This was an official who went rogue, so to speak, in the Pusiga situation. You stated a number of issues. The EC has admitted to about 3 of them. It has reflected them in the latest IPAC meeting. It's demonstrated what it had done to remedy the situation. You were asked if you had anything else to bring to bear. You did not bring that to bear. What's the noise about?
Ben, when you say we did not bring anything, I think
I never said you didn't bring anything. I said if you had anything more to bring to bear, apart from the issues that you've brought prior. They've been dealt with. What else do you want?
Ben, you're now coming clear on that. So you said the EC says that this was done on their blind side. Doesn't it tell you that then, of course, the EC's IT system is vulnerable? If people can go into your system and then actually conduct illegal transfers, Ben, for anybody to be transferred, the person must be physically present at the EC's district office. The person must be given a form to fill. The photo that will be uploaded onto the EC system to actually validate this transfer must be a live photo and not a photo taken prior. And so if you tell me that a Jumako, for example, you have actually illegally transferred 3,000 people, did the 3,000 people enter the office of the EC? Were they given the forms to fill? Right? And then were that live photos of these people taken? And so, the argument that the EC said it was held on their blind side, then how many ballots will also be counted on their blind side? Indeed, the vigilance rests with the political parties.
I'll ask you again.
What the NDC is saying is that...
I'll ask you again. Are there more issues that the NDC has discovered? I've seen your statement. And post the IPAC meeting, you speak of the IT system, for example. We are asking, what other issues are there? And if you're holding certain cards, why are you holding them to your chest and not putting them on the table?
Ben, all the cards are on the table. We stand by the fact that, like you have mentioned this morning on this platform, that if EC officials can actually do illegal transfers on the blind side of the leadership of the EC, right, then we are still recommending to the EC that their IT system needs an audit. And this morning you have stated, using the word on their blind side. It should never be the case that a whole EC would sit and say that these transfers were actually conducted on our blind side. And people would think that, so the NDC doesn't have a case. And then on the issue of the voters register, we are, in as much as we don't trust the EC, We are taking the EC's word for it, that they say that it is a continuous process, and as soon as practicable, they will let the political parties have the updated voters register. That is near perfect. What we are saying that as a party, the work for us doesn't end there. We are going to the 2024 election with a message of Women Development Bank. We are going to the 2024 election with a 24-hour economy message, and we are going to the 2024 election with vigilance, that the votes that will be cast will be the true representation of the good people of Ghana.
Well, you should be reassured, because the president, while in WA, stated that while he would prefer that his vice president, the flag bearer of the NPP, becomes the next president, stands where he was standing, he would let the will of the people, that he can't even compromise that. So you should be happy with that. Let's quickly get into other stories.
Right. And so I also have here 36 hotspots identified nationwide. Maybe I'll go into that story shortly. It's on page 12. Page 12, okay. And so it says at least 36 critical hotspots have been identified across the country by the National Peace Council, NPC, as places where electoral violence could erupt during the December polls. It says that out of the number, the council has so far selected 26 of them where engagements will be held with parliamentary candidates and electorates on political tolerance and solicit their inputs on how to resolve the tension. Maybe my interest will also be reading on to see, because the stakeholders that the National Peace Council has mentioned is not exhaustive. You even have the security, you even have the Electoral Commission. For us to say that, so this place is a hotspot, it is not solely dependent on the electorate. It is not solely dependent on the political actors. So, for example, the members of parliament. It is also dependent on the security that will be dispatched. And on this, we are calling on the police to actually, as always, they've demonstrated free and fair. I mean, they should give room, that day, whilst protecting the interest of the Ghanaian and not of any political party. But I also say that the National Peace Council, beyond the engagement with the electorate, I think should pay critical attention to what is happening at the Electoral Commission. Till today, the National Peace Council called on the president to revoke the appointment of key NPP people that he has appointed to the Electoral Commission. The people are still there. And the National Peace Council would look on and then call political parties in the face of what I've stated to come and sign peace pacts. It doesn't augur well for our democracy. It doesn't augur well for the peace.
Are you not interested in peace?
I have never said that. I am interested in peace. The NDC is interested in peace. What I'm saying is that peace is not just one component. The component of engaging the electorate and engaging the political actors, in this case, members of MP candidates,
so from
either political parties.
The National Peace Council is biased? Is that what you're saying?
Not biased. What I'm saying is that the action is not exhaustive. And so, for it to be exhaustive, what is happening at the Electoral Commission must also be of critical interest to the Peace Council.
But the National Peace Council has spoken to some of these issues. In fact, just yesterday, I was speaking to George Amo, who is secretary for the National Peace Council, and some of these matters came up. They are still at your door knocking for you to, sign the peace pact. And they say at least some of the things on your list, your 6-item list, have been dealt with, including, for example, the president coming out to say, listen, I can't even interfere in any way. Yes, it is my hope as a politician that my vice would become the next president, but it is not up to me. The people will decide. Does that not suffice for the sake of peace to put pen to paper and go along so that things do not degenerate in election 2024? Is it not enough?
Ben, the NDC will not sign any peace pact in the face of what is happening. Peace is not a paper. Peace are actions and inactions. So peace is not a paper.
All right. I think your point is made on that. Any other? Are you done?
Well, I think
you can look at the next newspaper rather than, because I think we've exhausted the issue.
So this one says that scandalous links exposed vice president. I would want you to choose the stories so that nobody accuses me of coming here to be biased. I mean, I know
you have the paper, so
what people can do. And so it says that NPP in election data harvesting plots. Okay. I think this is also my interest on page 3 of the New Republic. It says that poll unveils Mahama's election triumph. And for us, in as much as the polls are actually demonstrating that it will be a one-third victory for the NDC, we are not complacent. And it should tell you, our flag bearer is on the ground, our running mate is on the ground, key members of the NDC are on the ground. Our message is sharp. The people of Ghana have bought into our message. And so these polls are not coming out of a vacuum. They are coming out of decisions that the good people of Ghana have made going into the 2024 election. So I'll give you snippets of the story. It says that a covert operation by the National Security Establishment to evaluate the viability of President's Vice President Mahamudu Bawumia, the presidential hopeful of the ruling New Patriotic Party, against former President John Dramani Mahama, has yielded unsettling results, affirming the inevitable, and that word is underlined. I mean, I would want to underline that, affirming the inevitable triumph for John Dramani Mahama and the NDC in the upcoming elections. It goes on and says that the outcome of the polls conducted by National Security have cast a shadow over the official report, which remains withheld due to the conclusive data indicating victory for John Dramani Mahama and the NDC. And then here too says the NDC unveils women-centered policies. And so maybe I'll run the good people of Ghana by some of our women-centered policies. See, John Dramani, I've talked about the Women Development Bank already, so I won't belabor that point. But we are coming back with the redistribution of sanitary pads for young girls. Young girls listening to me, John Dramani Mahama cares about your reproductive health. And then don't listen to NPP people who says that when these pads are shared, it's for ill purposes. It is to support you to stay in school. Nothing takes a woman's confidence than a stained self. And so on this, I'm talking to young girls. President John Dramani Mahama cares about you and says that he's coming back to give you sanitary pads to help you to stay in school. The retention numbers of girls must increase for us to bridge the gender gap. President John Dramani Mahama cares. And then on that same, what we are going to actually do for women, what the NDC is saying is that we are extending maternity leave to 4 months. 4 months paid leave for the woman who has just had a child to stay at home and take care of their baby. And it will be paid. Of course, you are home, you are receiving your monthly salary. And so choose John Dramani Mahama to give you loans to work with, very soft loans. The interest rate are below the market price. So when I say below market price, what I'm saying is that if the interest rate for the banks, the regular banks is, for example, 40%, John Dramani Mahama is giving you unbeatable rates that are way below the market rate so that you can expand your business, so that you can actually take the initiative of starting a business. You have a skill, you don't have the capital. Trust John Dramani Mahama to give you capital to start or to expand your business. Trust John Dramani Mahama to give you free sanitary pad young girls to stay in school. Trust John Dramani Mahama to give you, among other things, 4 months of paid leave. We are resetting Ghana so that the ills of society would reduce to the barest minimum.
Thank you. I just have a quick question. You're talking about all of these policies and stuff. A lot of it will demand financial resources. How are you going to raise those resources, especially as we are under an IMF-supported program?
And so President John Dramani Mahama has been president before, and he'll be president again. Ben, when people ask that, where is the money? Which money did we use to dig the world's most expensive hole? I mean, I'm asking.
Have we completed it?
Has it even been started? Is the current state even befitting of a national cathedral? And so President John Dramani Mahama admits, that's what I'm saying, he's been there before, knows that there is the need for a certain level of fiscal discipline, and so won't actually misappropriate the taxpayers' money into digging holes. would apply the taxpayers' money judiciously. The taxpayers' money would give sanitary pads to the ordinary girl.
The same way he did the first time before 2016?
Indeed.
The same way?
Yes.
Where in some instances, I mean,
he gave sanitary pads.
Hold for me. Where in some instances there were schools that were struggling with chalk and, you know, the basics. There were schools under trees. They still are there now. But all these dynamics also happened under John Dramani Mahama. You know, some of us get very skeptical when this kind of talk is made mention of. And I think some of you in the political parties, you should measure how you talk. Because guess what? We were told by this administration, the current president, Yeti Sikaso Nsokomode, we are where we are. We are under an IMF program. You are hoping to come to power, and you are waxing lyrical about all these things you will do, and that there is money. If there were money, do you think we would have gone to the IMF? Ben,
did I sit here to tell you that? What I'm saying, when you say I said there is money, you are putting words in my mouth. What I said is that President Mahama understands fiscal discipline because he's been there before, and so would apply the taxpayers' money judiciously and not to dig holes. And so I think that we should actually contextualize the conversation.
Right. Our time is up, but let me just leave with these headlines. Political Digest. Indicators point at NPP victory, says Nana B. I'll get into that story briefly. Check if your allegations have been addressed, NPP scribe to NDC. Greatness can come with mindset of possibilities, that's according to Baumia. And galamsey fight call to action, that's according to Napo. Daybreak newspaper. I will protect assets of the judiciary. Chief Justice assures judges. Probe Obo over 41 million Ghana CD Otumfor stamp. Angry Ghana Post staff demand. I saw him recently in church, actually. His team came for a group. Eduche hangs at Customs and GRNMA backs Kolebu CEO. Let me just get into that story. Nana B, where is that story? Okay, let me see whether I can... It didn't mention which page it was on, so it's a little tricky. Ah, yeah, here it is. National organizer for the MPP, lawyer Henry Nanabuache. I'm curious, though, why do we add lawyer as though it were a title? Well, the engineers have this, and we like titles in this country. The person's name. Why do you like adding lawyer this? Anyway. Henry Nanabuache, known popularly as Nana B, has assured members of the party that they are winning the 2024 elections. According to him, the political party has fulfilled most of its social contracts with the people of Ghana in major sectors of the country's economy. Well, I was thinking that he would cite something specific, but he is not. Though there have been surveys in recent times that have pointed to the MPP gaining ground on John Dramani Mahama and maybe superseding that. Final thoughts in some 30 seconds.
My final thoughts, good people of Ghana, make a decision. Vote for John Dramani Mahama. He has the perfect pair of hands to reset Ghana and put it on a path of prosperity, jobs, development, and justice. Those who have looted state funds, he will recover for our good interest. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for joining the conversation. That is Naa Chair. She's a member of the NDC's communications team. Her counterpart from the MPP, we invited, and she was supposed to be here, just so you know. That's how we cap off the news review this morning. But coming up next, we have sports. Do stay.